Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever found yourself literally pausing mid-sentence, just suddenly second-guessing whether you should say, I was, I did, or I had? If so, you are absolutely not alone. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on what is honestly one of the most common frustrations in everyday English conversation. We're going to figure out exactly how to stop mixing up those tiny but incredibly powerful past tense auxiliary words. We're going to make it crystal clear.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the past tense puzzle. Then we'll explore was as setting the scene, did for actions and emphasis, and had as our time machine. Finally, we'll see real conversations in action. All right, section 1, the past tense puzzle. Why do we actually mix these up?
Picture this. You're telling a colleague about a totally chaotic moment from your morning commute. Your brain is just racing to build a sentence. Do you say, I was dropping my coffee, I did drop my coffee, or I had dropped my coffee? Take a second and mentally fill in the blank for how you'd normally say it. The tricky part here isn't that you don't know the dictionary definitions of these words, is that each one creates a totally different feeling and context in your listener's mind. Choosing the wrong one? Well, it can literally change the entire shape of your story.
Moving on to section 2, was setting the stage. I want you to think of this guy as the background painter. So think of was as your scene setter. It's the word we use for states of being, or continuous, ongoing actions happening back in the past. We're not talking about a quick, single, finished click of a button here. We are talking about a fluid process. When you use was, you're basically inviting your listener to step right inside a moment that is actively unfolding. You're painting the background scenery before the main event even happens. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Let's compare I was eating to I did eat. Imagine someone asks why you didn't answer your phone. If you reply, I was eating, your focus is entirely on the ongoing process. It paints a nice, relaxed picture of you just sitting there with your lunch. But if you say, I did eat, suddenly the focus shifts entirely. It sounds defensive, or at least highly emphatic about the completion of the action. It's almost like someone accused you of skipping a meal. Swapping just one tiny auxiliary verb changes the whole energy of the sentence.
Section 3. Did. Actions and emphasis. It is time to meet the action hero.
Yeah, did is absolutely the action hero of our past tense auxiliaries. It is the definitive executor of past completed actions, and it's a major amplifier of truth. Unlike that flowing, ongoing vibe we get with was, did is a hard check mark. Boom, done, finished. In everyday conversation, we use it to form simple questions, to make negative statements, or, and this is absolutely crucial, to stand our ground. When you say, I did send that email, you are actively amplifying the truth of what you did.
But what happens when you use the wrong word in daily life? Well, look at this. We all know I had a dog perfectly indicates past possession. But if you accidentally swap in our action hero, did, you get, I did a dog. Right. I definitely don't need to over-explain why that is highly awkward and, well, completely incorrect. It's a funny, slightly disastrous example for sure, but it perfectly highlights why we need to know exactly what job each word is hired to do. You simply cannot use an action marker for a state of possession.
Let's move to and see how this builds in section 4, had, the time machine. We are going to the past before the past.
Okay, so had is literally a time machine. For right now, let's just completely toss out dry grammatical jargon like past perfect tense. Seriously, forget it. To really help this stick in your memory, just think of had as a vehicle that transports your listener further back in time. It brings us to the past before the past. See, while did and was happen in your standard short-term memory of a story, had comes in when you're already talking about yesterday and suddenly you need to mention something that happened the day before that.
Let's map this out visually so it makes total sense. Imagine now is you, sitting right here in this exact moment. Yesterday afternoon is the main setting of your story. That's when you were talking to your boss or you did finish that report. That's your standard past. But look a little further back, all the way to yesterday morning. That deeper past, that is where had lives. If you're telling a story anchored in yesterday afternoon and you need to explain something from yesterday morning just to give some context, you use had to make that backward jump. Let's connect that timeline to that morning commute story we talked about earlier. By the time I was at work, I had already spilled my coffee. Do you see the time machine working there? Was at work is our main setting in the standard past, but the tragic spilling of the coffee, that happened before arriving at work. So we use had already spilled to anchor that messy event deeper into the past. Without had, your listener would be totally lost on the sequence of events.
Which brings us to Section 5, Real Conversations in Action. Let's bring it all together.
I'm going to guide you through the actual steps of building a natural, multi-layered past tense story. It's just 3 steps. Step 1, we set the scene using was. We paint that background. Step 2, we establish previous context, basically jumping backward in our timeline using our time machine, had. And finally, Step 3, we emphatically declare the core, completed action using our hero, did. When you stack these bad boys together, you get incredibly dynamic, natural communication.
Let's look at this real-life example. I was rushing because I had missed my alarm, but I did finally make it. Notice how seamlessly they interact here? I was rushing, there's our ongoing scene. Because I had missed my alarm, boom, there's our time machine giving us that deep past context. But I did finally make it, and there is our emphatic completed action. It just flows so perfectly.
So the crucial point is captured right here in this little matrix. Honestly, keep this cheat sheet in mind for your next chat. We've got was, functioning as the scene setter, like I was eating. We've got did, functioning for action or emphasis, as in I did eat. And we have had, acting as our time machine, with I had eaten. Remembering this simple framework ensures you're communicating the exact mood, timeline, and focus you actually intend, rather than just kind of guessing which word sounds right.
Which leaves us with one final thought. What story will you tell with your new time machine today? Seriously, the next time you're catching up with a friend, I want you to intentionally think about the scene you're setting, the actions you're emphasizing, and the timeline you're jumping through. Because guess what? You have the exact tools to do it perfectly now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious and keep practicing those brilliant stories.